Gaffron. I grew up here, graduated from Norwin. I'm a graduate of the University of Pittsburgh with a background in business administration. And I just want to say really quickly before I kick it off to our question and answer session, because it is the most important to hear what you have to say. Everyone, if you did not grab it, please make sure you pick up a copy of Moving Forward, What Can I Do? Our group put this together so you can continue your own research. Please note, we will be having a triple divide showing Saturday, May 17th, 1 p.m. in this room. If you want to hear personal stories, watch a documentary about people in this state. It was made last year in 2013 by independent journalists, and both of the producers will be here to field questions, answer, take concerns. In here you also find instructions on writing letters to the editor. I want to say that it's very important that our community is able to hear your opinions. Not everyone can make it here today, people. We need to hear from you. And also, you have the information to contact your elected leaders. Every board member's information is on here. The times that they meet is on here. You can also find it on the website, which is also provided. And finally, lastly, please lend us your strength. I have some suggestions here on how you can help. In the sign-in sheet, please check that you volunteer. And again, because it's most important, we'd like to start our question and answer session now with Nick and Travis. So if you would come up. And I thank you all for coming.
And if you want to learn more about what our groups and our upcoming events are, we have a sheet going around, and there's a sheet by the door to sign up with your email or phone number if you're comfortable with that. And we'll get in touch with you to let you know what else we're doing and what other events are coming up. So yeah, questions.
Two-part question. Is anybody from the news media here? They are identifying themselves, please. No one? They were. How about township commissioners? Anybody here from?
They're having a meeting.
They have meetings tonight.
Oh, okay. In the future, might I suggest you invite them so that they don't have an out and say that they weren't invited, they didn't know what was going on here, please?
Yes, that's a great.
Thank you for what you're trying to do. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question. Where are we right now? I mean, I'm hearing that the drill pad is now being established. Is that where we're at right now?
That's a good question. I'm not sure.
There's none completed right now, but they are in they are now able to do it. And one of the things our group's trying to find out, I'll get you in just a second, is where that's going to be happening so that people know if it's nearby them. There is a thing called Frac Tracker online. You can search for Frac Tracker. It'll show you where permits are. Like they have to send a permit to the state to where it's going to be, and there you can see some locations on that. But keep in mind it has to be updated periodically. So this is new for us, and information about North Huntingdon isn't on there yet. But currently, right now, there's no completed wells in North Huntingdon right now. But they can start making them. They can do those first steps. You had something to say?
Yeah, to help answer her question, they were setting dynamite charges off at the end of my street this morning.
Yeah.
Seismic testing has started, right? First step.
I even heard the trees were being cut down, and an area has been started being cleared.
I believe it. We're trying to find out where, but I don't want to give false information. Like I said, I'm really dedicated to that. But down, where was it that we were thinking? Down Turner Valley Road. There is a road being built down there. Now we don't know what the purpose of the road is or who's doing it, but it seems like that would be a prime location to go under the park. But again, I want to say I can't verify that honestly.
There are brochures about Frac Tracker in the back on the table that you can take one to give you more information about it as well.
There's other sites online too. That's a good
Are you
one.
familiar with MarcellusGas.org?
I'm not, but I'll check it out.
You can track every well
Thank you.
in Pennsylvania.
Marcellus Gas?
MarcellusGas.org.
.org. Thank you.
And this is the brochure that has the Frac Tracker.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. Other questions?
I got another question. Over the weekend, this past weekend, helicopters were dropping material at different locations down in the Turner Valley area. What would that be?
That's something that they can do with seismic testing. They'll have packets whenever with everything that they need. The helicopter will pick it up, take it to the next location. That has to do with if they're allowed to use the roads. If they're not, they can do it by helicopter. And also it might be an economic decision for them depending on what the access is for the different sites. Like I said, when they're doing the dynamite stuff, it's usually in hard to access places, you know, before they've built the road to the pad and that kind of thing. So that is something they do with helicopters in regards to that.
Oh, Travis, let
Yeah.
me just let you know that I talked to Mike Hurley, and he told me that they are going to use the stumper trucks on Hunter Valley Road, because that's a state, not a township.
Thank you.
So,
And they, I might also add, they already have used it,
In Turner Valley?
yes.
Okay.
10:30 at night on a Thursday.
Awesome.
They've been wonderful.
Well, it sounds like they violated the ordinance.
They already did violate the
Yeah.
ordinance.
Good, that's a good thing to keep in mind, right?
Well, who is gonna enforce the ordinance if they chose to? And do we have a phone number for that person, please?
I don't know, do we have that information?
About the zoning person from Huntingdon?
Don't we have a code enforcement officer in North Huntington?
Yes.
We do? I'll tell you what, if you put your name on that sheet for the email, and you're comfortable with that, of course, we'll find out the answer, and we'll email it out to everyone, so that you know where to go, okay? And like I said, I just learned this, you don't have to be an expert to understand and find this stuff out, and we're gonna learn, yeah.
The point person on oil and gas in the administration office is the assistant administrator, Michael Turley, Turley. If you go to the North Huntington website and go into the administration, you will eventually come to a page where you'll see his email. So you can directly contact him by email or by phone.
And he's the guy that they would get in contact with?
I'd start with him because
They should, yeah. I imagine there's probably a 24-hour contact number. I mean, 'cause if they're doing this,
We'll find that out.
it's going to be hard to catch them at 10:30 at night to get someone from the
But again, that's a great question, thank you. Any others?
How long have they been drilling near the Beaver Run and how long has that been going on?
Can I just, the question was, how long have they been drilling near the Beaver Run?
And how long?
I specifically don't know the answer to that, and I apologize. The information that I have is that the first well in Pennsylvania was in 2007, and so it has to be since then. So again, not even a decade old.
I don't know. If I misspoke, I don't know if drilling right by the yacht. I do know there are pads right near the Beaver Run. I'm not sure when those were established. I think if you use Frac Tracker, which is back there, we have the pamphlets for you can see when the permits were issued and how many wells are around the reservoir.
But I'll add that to our list of things to find out, and we'll do our best for you.
Isn't there something in the PA Constitution about the right of the citizenry to clean air, clean water? And how does the legality circle back to that? Have there been any cases that have been tested?
Yes, there's been cases. Recently there was a case in Texas about air pollution I don't know if you remember specifically.
Well, you're talking specifically about the
PA Constitution
PA.
has that integral in it.
Sorry.
Yeah, there is in Article 1, Section 27 of the Pennsylvania Constitution, there is the Environmental Rights Amendment, which was passed in the 1970s, in response to a lot of the legacy of coal mining in this area. I mean, I was born in the 80s, but from what I understand, my parents who grew up in the area, in Pittsburgh, was just a smog-filled steel mills, obviously. But yes, there was the big Supreme Court case in December, which overturned a large portion of Act 13. This could be a whole hour that we would talk about this, but briefly, Pennsylvania, the legislature passed Act 13. It was supposed to update the oil and gas law in Pennsylvania. Several municipalities, a doctor, and environmental groups sued. The PA Supreme Court overturned it on the basis of the amendment, the Environmental Rights Amendment. Well, 3 justices did, one on another ground. But so basically what Act 13 did was take away the right, and I talked about the zoning ordinance, the right to kind of control where this was going. So what this means for North Huntingdon Township is people are still trying to figure it out, but they could conceivably expand their zoning ordinance to be more protective. Because that's all in play now. No one's really sure how broad this case is going to be, but it definitely gives the power back to the municipalities to have a little bit more control and say, well, you know, Act 13 said we have to put this everywhere, in every zone. Say, we don't want it in every zone, we want farther setbacks, 500 feet is not enough. They could do things like that.
There was a gentleman had a question in the back. Or did I? Not you, sorry. Okay, you had a question, I'm sorry.
Yes, say for instance, your neighbor has the mineral rights,
Mm-hmm.
and you do too, and your property is adjacent to them. And you're not gonna have drilling on yours, but he's gonna have on his.
Mm-hmm.
Could he go horizontally on your property?
No, that would be a trespass.
Pardon?
That would be a trespass.
Right, but are they allowed to do that?
No.
Well,
That's-
how do you know if they do it?
Oh, that's the $1 million question.
But specifically, that's only if you own the mineral rights. A lot of the people don't own their
Say you
own.
do, say
Right.
you own your mineral rights,
Right.
and he owns them, but he's putting against us.
Well,
You're not, then he's gonna go horizontally.
I believe and I'm relatively new to this area, so I'm not going to claim this as fact, but I have looked at permits, and they have to show the path of the horizontal laterals. So,
Well, how do I get that? Who do I go to see to get that?
MarcellusGas.org.
They-
You go there, you subscribe for $20, you can get every.
They have where the pipes go underground as well.
Every.
Show the well.
Thank you.
But if you want to,
Plan and everything, I got it right here on the phone.
if you have concerns about that too, I put business cards in the back. You can contact me, and I can do more research into it. You know, if you want to tell me your specific address, we can talk about it, and I can see what I can find. So anyone is free to contact me as well. My business cards in the back.
I live above Turner Valley. I can see the first wells that they put across the valley. The very first was on the ridge over there, and I've lived there now, starting 6 years ago. 8 years I lived there, so about 6 years ago. When they said they were coming into the park and doing horizontally, I'd like to know, because I don't, where's the well pad for that? Are they, because, you know, the park is, it's all hills and valleys. Where are they coming from? They're going to go across Scupper Hollow Road? I mean, how do they do that? Where's the site that they're coming from?
Well, it has to be on private property. But the
so-
range is, keep in mind, they can go 2 miles underground.
Right.
So it's, and ideally, I think they want to go all the way across the park. So if you looked at a map and you looked at 2 miles from the park
Yeah.
and did a radius, you could kind of get a sense of where the well paths could be, but we don't know the answer.
And not only one under the park, but one under the 200 acres, the console, forward soccer, but that's all.
Are you kidding me?
That's
It's actually called the Console Energy
They
Soccer
own that
Field.
property, they can do whatever they want with it.
They're
There's
going
a
under their.
nifty little sign.
One under, 200 acres, we're not just doing that in the park, they're doing everything.
Well, you know what, I'm really upset that, I'm personally upset that our commissioners
They
do
sold,
this.
they sold it.
They sold us down the road.
Because nobody, like, I didn't know about that meeting, there's only in the Star, I don't get a paper, and the guy that went to the meeting was one of my sister's neighbor on, up near the park, said, he went to the meeting, and I can't quote it exactly, but one of the commissioners said, well, there are not that many people that live out there anyway. So there's noise, you know, there's not that many people live out there, and you're like, well, if they don't think we live out there and we matter, then we shouldn't maybe not pay our taxes to them, or do something. Because,
I just want to say I live out. I live in property that borders Braddock Trail Park,
yeah,
so I'm out there too.
yeah,
And this is a really important thing that you mentioned, is that a lot of people weren't notified beforehand, and
Absolutely.
given hopefully what we gave you today is a little bit of information about even what it is. And so what we if I can make a little plea to you is to help us educate our neighbors and help us kind of get the word out about what this is going on, and whether you're for or against. I think people have a right to know what it means.
And I think from what Travis said, it's the dissemination of information is so important because a lot of people did know about this. I was there because of my organization is kind of plugged into everything, and it's my job to be there. But and I think if more people had been there and heard the logic that was the justification where they said, well, we're going to allow drilling because everyone else around us is going to lease, and if there are negative water impacts from their leasing, we need money to pay for those water
yeah, that
impacts.
was so absurd.
So we'll lease ourselves, and that's just the most mind-numbing logic I've ever heard. I just don't understand it. But the importance is to continue working with a group like the North Huntingdon Environmental Stewardship Project, because They're going to keep putting out good information, and maybe there are things that can be done to revise the ordinances.
You're talking about the quote that the guy said, well, you know, the money that we make off the park, if there's any problems, this will help to pay for the problems.
Yeah.
And
That's what he said that's
Yeah.
what Rich Gray, I think, said
That's
at the
right.
meeting that I was
Right.
at, yeah.
Yeah.
So we only,
This township already paid to extend the water line in Turtle Valley years ago because of saltwater intrusion when they drilled the speechless heads. Okay, so it's already impacted. It was impacted a long time ago. In the Second World War, they pulled all the casings out, sold the steel. So no one knows where the wells are. But that's all down there in Turtle Valley. Everybody lost their wells a long time ago.
gotcha.
And the
Thank
township
you.
paid for the water line. So when Gray says that, that's exactly what he's talking about. You can end up paying for the water line
Right.
that somebody else cost.
So there is obviously a much greater conversation to have, and I apologize, it's 5 minutes till 8. We're gonna take one more question, and
I'm just.
there, you said there was a
Yeah,
person,
this gentleman here,
did you have
raise
a?
your hand, sir? Yeah, did you have a question?
I was wondering, I enjoy hiking through the Braddock Trail area and enjoy the wildflowers. Is there a restriction that they won't tear up some of the what we have?
There are
Mr.
some.
Gardner did a beautiful job of documenting with the Boy Scouts a trail through there that you can enjoy the wildflowers and nature. Are they going to try to preserve that, or is everything open to?
One of the big stipulations that they tried to get in the lease, correct me if I'm wrong, was that they wanted to have minimum surface involvement. They didn't want pads built on the surface, and so they are trying to protect it somewhat, but what that really means is questionable when we talk about groundwater. But in regards to the seismic testing, they will be bringing in some equipment to drill holes, and they do have permission, I think it was to clip trees that were like 3 inches in diameter or something like that if they have to maneuver their equipment. They can't take down trees bigger than that, but they do have permission to do some invasive stuff in the parks in order to do the seismic testing.
But yeah, as Travis said, there will be no well pads, as they said. I mean, in the lease, it specifies that.
Does that make sense?